Besides the original, pretty much every single movie in the Jurassic Park franchise has been more or less pretty trashy. Does Jurassic World Rebirth live up to the hype of the original, or does it fall flat on its feet like the rest? K-Dog's movie review. Jurassic World Rebirth is directed by Gareth Edwards and stars Scarlett Johansson and Jonathan Bailey. 5 years post Jurassic World Dominion, an expedition braves isolated equatorial regions to extract DNA from 3 massive prehistoric creatures for a groundbreaking medical breakthrough. Okay, so to give my quick thoughts on the franchise, the original is the GOAT, and pretty much every movie since then has been pretty trashy. They have great scenes that you can watch on YouTube when you're taking a dump, but beyond that, as full movies, they're all kind of not that great. Fallen Kingdom and Dominion, I think it was called. I only saw that once. They're honestly pretty terrible movies with horrible writing and just a lack of focus. And so with Rebirth, while I was excited that they were bringing in Gareth Edwards, a great visual director, along with a brand new cast, I still was pretty skeptical. I think I saw the initial first trailer and it felt so Marvel-y. That's not to say that the Marvel movies are bad, but they all kind of have that let's appeal to as many people as we can element to it. The let's get in a situation where we almost die, but then we joke about it right afterwards feel to them. And so again, with how trashy this franchise has become, I really was not expecting much. But I gotta say, Jurassic World Rebirth, while it does have its issues, which I am going to discuss, it's not terrible. It's a fun family blockbuster. If you're gonna compare any of these sequels to the original, they're always going to be worse. The original is a near perfect movie with a fantastic cast that all has great chemistry, wonderful blend of horror, popcorn action, and great dialogue. So if you go into this movie thinking you're going to get an OG Jurassic Park, this is unfortunately not it. Rebirth is a serviceable, fine movie that once again appeals to the masses, which honestly was my biggest disappointment with it. Now, there will be a spoiler section at the end of this video, so look out for that. But for now, I'm going to keep it spoiler free. So let's get into it. As I said, Gareth Edwards is a strong visual director. His visuals always look great. The size and scale of the dinosaurs is immaculate. The colors really pop. Most of the CG looks great. I mean, there are a few iffy moments here and there, but most of it looks pretty good. Visuals, fantastic all around. So if you are going to see it, definitely try and see it on the big screen. There's also a solid cast here, all around great acting. Johnson, Ali, Bailey, they all do a great job as our, lead trio in the movie. And we really dive into their characters more than I thought they would. It turned out a lot better character-wise than I thought. It's also my most frustrating thing about this movie, but I'll get into that a little later. So while the acting isn't bad, it does run into the problem of having too many characters, though. If you've seen the trailers, then you know we're also following this family that's been trapped on the island and is trying to escape. Having, around 9 different characters, it's just too much for this movie. Without spoiling anything, you can tell who's going to get eaten by dinosaurs and who isn't. There is one character I did not enjoy, but I'll get into that when I get into my main criticisms of the movie. But beyond that, everyone was great. Everyone was acting really well. And I actually found myself rooting for these characters and hoping that they get out of this situation alive. Another thing I really liked about this movie was the variety of set pieces. We have a climbing sequence. We have a sequence on a boat. We have a sequence in a river. We have a sequence in an underground tunnel. Really appreciated that variety of stuff. It wasn't just run away from this dinosaur in the jungle, run away from this other dinosaur in the jungle. Another great part of this movie was the music. John Williams didn't score this one. They obviously use a lot of his original score from the original movies, but I thought the new stuff really blended in well with the OG music. And there's even a few new songs specifically during some of the boat action sequences that I really enjoyed. And that's really it for my positives. Pacing. Great job of setting up our main characters. That all felt great. But once we get to the island, certain scenes just drag on for too long. And honestly, there are certain encounters that I don't think really needed to happen. It could have been cut completely. This movie sits at about 2 hours and 15 minutes, and I think you easily could have cut a solid 20 minutes from this movie. Part of the love Jurassic Park 3 has is that it's so short. It's like a quick hour and a half. They get to the island, shit happens, the end. This movie could have been that. Around that hour and a half, hour and 40-minute point, it started to drag for me. Things did pick up towards the end because I did like the final monster. It could have been a lot shorter overall. Okay, now to get into my major criticism with this movie. It felt so studio made. It didn't feel like it was a film being made by a director or writer with a vision. It felt like, hey, let's make a movie that'll make us the most money possible. I don't know. It made me feel almost like I was watching an event and not a singular movie. You know, it's almost like that Marvel-y feeling where you know how you're going to feel as you're watching it and you know how you're going to feel after you leave the theater. While there are new and exciting dinosaurs and certain sequences with them, it doesn't feel fresh. It doesn't feel that creative. It feels like we're pandering to as many possible people as we can without taking any big risks. It's almost like the studio said, hey, we can't have us focusing on one scene for too long. So we need to keep it moving. We need to keep it moving. We need to jump from set piece to set piece to set piece because everyone's attention spans are low now with TikTok and YouTube shorts and whatnot. So we can't really hold on something for too long. We got to keep it moving as fast as possible. Oh, and hey, Universal needs to be able to sell toys with this. So we need a cute baby dinosaur that really doesn't have anything to do with the plot whatsoever. We need to shove that in as much as possible. Hey, people want to feel good when they leave the movie, so we gotta end on a lighthearted note. We gotta end with the nice, inspiring music like the original. We gotta end with everyone smiling despite, going through this horrific sequence of events over the past couple of days. It's hard to describe because at the beginning of this movie, I was actually really enjoying it. I found myself saying, okay, I'm actually caring about these characters. They're giving them a little more depth than I thought. But then once they actually get to the island and shit starts happening, it just feels so empty. It's weird. Something just wasn't clicking for me. It really might be the script. It just felt so lackluster and unoriginal. I mean, from the very beginning, you could tell exactly what was going to happen, who was going to die, who wasn't going to die, and how you were going to feel at the end of the movie. And that's what makes me feel like I'm watching, an event or I'm at a theme park. Maybe that's what these movies have become, really what blockbusters are, right? You take your family to a movie during the summer when it's super hot, you get in the air conditioning theater, see some thrilling sequences for a couple hours, and then you leave. And you completely forget about it until the next one comes out in a couple of years. That's really what this felt like. It didn't really feel particularly special. I will say it is better than the last two. It's better than Fallen Kingdom and it's better than Dominion. But honestly, those movies were complete and utter garbage. So the bar is set very, very low. And you know what? That studio meddlingness kind of worked for me because I left the movie thinking, it was all right. How many years has it been since the original? 32 or something. I don't really see this movie sticking around for the next 32 years in pop culture, digging its heels in as a significant sequel to the original. My camera battery is currently dying, so again, to sum it up, before I get into spoilers, the movie is fine. It's a fine movie. I think you should see it, especially if you like the other ones. If you like the original, I'm sorry, this just is not it, and you're probably never going to get it. Franchise is in a new direction now. A movie like this deserves to be seen in theaters as opposed to at home because it's big, it's grand. There's some great music in it. There's some great cinematography. Some of the dinosaurs look pretty fucking cool. Again, no spoilers, but I don't know. I guess just don't expect anything mind-blowing. It's a middle-of-the-road Jurassic Park movie. Spoiler section, you've been warned. Now, the main thing I wanted to talk about in the spoiler section was my biggest gripes with the movie. First was our comic relief character. I forget what his name was, but he was part of that family. He was the boyfriend. He just clearly was the, hey, we can't have this movie be too dark, so we need a guy who's constantly quipping and making jokes. He starts off as a complete douchebag, but then we see the other side of him when he saves his girlfriend. And then we just keep cutting to him making these jokes that unfortunately weren't really landing at all in my theater. One or two did, but he just keeps coming with them. And it's like, dude, all right, calm down. I'm watching dinosaurs eat people. I don't need to be fed jokes while it happens. It's fine. I'm going to be okay. I'm going to survive the experience of seeing the movie. I don't need constant jokes. That character just really rubbed me the wrong way. But ultimately, my main concern with this movie was the desire of the studio to make our main characters as likable as possible. Now, the original motivation for Scarlett Johansson and her friends to go there was money. As of course is always the case in Jurassic Park films, going there because they want money. Now that's fine. She's basically a mercenary. That's what she does for a living. She has some PTSD and she's lost some friends along the way, so she doesn't really love doing this job anymore, but she takes this $10 million contract to go to this island and collect the blood samples from big dinosaurs. Halfway through the movie, or maybe a quarter, Bailey's character goes up to Scarlett and says, hey, what if we just didn't stick to the mission and donated the blood to the entire world of science for free? At first, Scarlett Johansson's like, I had never thought about it that way. You know exactly from that moment where this is going to lead. The evil guy is going to turn super evil, pull out a gun, try to escape by himself, and get eaten by a dinosaur, while our main characters are going to ultimately donate the blood to all of science. I didn't buy it. I did not buy it. Her whole motivation for being there is money. She cites it multiple times, especially when things are going wrong. They get on the island and she says, guys, we're here for money. Just remember this. We have a mission to do. Changing up her entire motivation for being there to give it all away for free just feels stupid. It just feels like the studio was saying, hey, we need to make these characters likable. They can't be doing it for money. They need to be the type of people who do it for free, to do it for the better of the world. You could have built to that moment. Just the way that it's presented, it just did not sit with me. It just felt so studio-esque. I would have been fine if they did it for money. I still cared about the character because they set her up really well. She had lost a friend. She had just lost her mom. It was fine. I was fully on board with her character and what she was there for. And so I guess Mahershala Ali's character decided to give it all away for free too. His original motivation for going there, again, like Scarlett Johansson, was money. But he has a different backstory. He lost a child, and so he's very connected to saving this family, which is fine. That makes me like his character. Okay, stick with that. You want to save this family. Okay, we saved the family, but does that mean we're now giving up our $10 million for this? That seems like a stretch. I mean, even Scarlett Johansson and Jonathan Bailey at one point are like, well, we'll live poor for the rest of our lives, but it's okay because we did the right thing. And I'm all about characters doing the right thing and having a change and going through an arc, but it felt way too rushed and out of left field. That was a long rant just about the studio-ness of it. You know, the dinosaur was cute, but I think it was called Dolores, the tiny, cute dinosaur that they were definitely going to use just to sell toys. Hey, kids are watching this. They're going to want to buy an action figure after this is done or a plushie. So let's shoehorn Dolores in there. I was so expecting that dinosaur to eventually bite the child and have the child learn that, hey, these are wild animals. You can't just pick them up and put them in your backpack, even if you fed them a few gummies. They're going to be unpredictable and they're not domesticated in any way, shape, or form. But no, it just lives in her backpack now and is going home with her, I guess, at the end of the movie, which I think is Not a great message for children. It really ultimately goes against the entire message of the whole franchise, which is that these are wild creatures and can't be tamed for theme parks or for our backpacks. I don't want to be a hater for hater's sake, because I know that children can enjoy these movies. And so there are moments where you need to connect with kids. And that's why representation matters. There is a child in this movie. Having to shoehorn in a cute dinosaur that we can buy in a gift shop afterwards, it just feels like too much for me. One thing I really did enjoy was the dinosaur hybrid at the end of the movie. I think it's called D-Rex or something. I thought that thing looked really cool. That thing looked very Lovecraftian. It was so cool. It had like a weird ass huge forehead with 5 or 6 little arms, and it was just really cool. I really enjoyed that thing. I really enjoyed the cinematography with the introduction of that dinosaur. It's lurking in the shadows behind people, and then when they pull out the flares later, it's only being lit by flare light, and it's all covered in red, and it just looks so terrifying. I really wish they leaned more into the horror of being on this island alone with these fucked up creatures. I think they could have gone a little further with the experimented creatures. And so that's it. Another Jurassic Park sequel in the books. I hate to be a downer or hater, but it was fine. There were some cool things, some fun action sequences. I ultimately left kind of like, whatever. I'm probably never going to see it again. I might watch a scene or two on YouTube while I'm taking a dump, but that's really all this movie will ever be for me. I'm sure it'll make $1 billion trillion, and we'll have another one of these in 2 years with, I don't know who's big, Pedro Pascal. He's going to be the new face of the Jurassic World franchise. Or maybe we'll even go bigger and go Jurassic Universe. Ah!